Well, first off, congrats to Michigan on winning the national championship. Kind of had them going, and I should have did a prediction video, but I didn't. But I kind of figured, man, their defense, man, was on another level all year. Uh, like I think top five in most statistical categories this year. We've seen in this game, and the key we had coming in was their defensive line versus the offensive line for Washington. Not only had one sack, but what they did, they battered, they bruised Michael Penix Jr. all game long with the hits. And, you've seen Aaron throws from him. So shout out to the defense, man. It was something special this year. They could get home with Graham and the defensive interior. Their edges were very, very good this year. And on the back end, they didn't give up a lot of plays. Only, I think, one or two plays were over 30-plus yards in this game. So credit to their back end who really stepped up. And you could really tell, man, Michigan had a physical football team all year long, man. They was bringing the punch. The corners was physical. The safeties was physical. The linebackers flew sideline to sideline, man. That was the difference, I think, this year. Being able to come downhill, make big hits, man. And I think that's the reason why they'll be national champions. Now, there's a quote from Jim Harbaugh that says, I've said it before, but right here, this is the greatest quarterback in the University of Michigan college football history. I don't know, man. It's hard for me. Like, I've looked at the stats, kind of like looked at the tape a little bit. I mean, he does have an argument to a degree with what he's done, 27-1 record. They shouldn't have lost to TCU last year. I think it would have exacerbated his argument more if they would have went last year and possibly played Georgia. And if he would have won that game and then followed that with this year, then that kind of validates his argument, right? So I'm back and forth on it. Obviously had a good year, right? Rose Bowl MVP, three-time Big Ten champion, national champion now, Rose Bowl MVP, all-team, first-team all Big Ten. It's just hard. Look, like the eye test for me, like with J.J. McCarthy, it just doesn't stand out, right? And I give him credit. He's played good pretty much all year long. But the national championship, he was 10 for 18 for 114 yards. We'll pull that up in a second. But it's just like he wasn't seeing the field well. Really, who won this game. Over 300-plus yards rushing. Donovan Edwards, 2 of his touches were for touchdowns in this game. And then Blake Corum was the physical battering ram all game long. That's what made Michigan so hard to beat. They could run the rock, and J.J. McCarthy could play good complementary football, pass it to the receivers, hit the tight ends, and that's kind of like that's what made the difference. So it's hard for me to say he's the greatest. I tend to lean towards Brady, but Brady didn't really have the heavily coveted like college career. He backed up those first 2 years when he was there, and then he competed and battled for the job. Won in '98, but battled and competed for the job in 1999 and shared reps too. So I can see to a degree why he is, and also Jim Harbaugh went there as well. First 300-yard passer in their history. But I can see to a degree the stance of the argument. I still will roll with Brady. That's just me, though. So you look, like this is the national championship numbers. 10 for 18, 140 yards. Like I said, the big key was the running game. Battering ram, Blake Corum, 21 carries, 134 yards, 2 tutties. And then Donovan Edwards was elite with his touches, over 17 yards a carry with 6 carries for 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was electric all night long. Like, they didn't ask JJ to do a lot, and I think that's what kind of goes against the argument. When you look at the both sides, Michigan can run the football. Those two were dynamic. Last year they were really good. This year even better. Those two, and Blake Corum actually even set a record for the most rushing touchdowns I think in college football history. With 27, I think he got in this game. Might have hit 28 with the second one he got, but he set the record. So it's hard for me to really say with the eye test. Now, will he make the NFL? Probably will. I wouldn't put him in that consideration, though, for one of the top quarterbacks. Probably going to be like a mid-rounder, in my opinion. It's no disrespect. Kid can play, but, there's levels to it. So, like, when you have these numbers, like Brady, this is why I say I think Brady's better. In his career, ranking 3rd in Michigan with 710 tips, 442 completions, 4th with 5,351 yards and 62.3% completion percentage, and 5th with 35 touchdown passes. Now, obviously, I think McCarthy surpassed him with touchdowns, but you got to remember the eras, right? Let's take into consideration the eras. That wasn't as much of a passing era back then. It was more running, things like that. He did pass, but not as prevalent as it is now. This is more of a passing kind of game. Now, again, I did say that Corum and obviously Edwards were big and the rushing attack helped, but you still do pass the ball way more now than you did before. Nonetheless, though, congrats to Michigan. Y'all comment below, man. I want to hear your thoughts. What do y'all think of Michigan winning this national championship? Should it be vacated? I don't think it should be, but should it be vacated? And the last thing, J.J. McCarthy, where do y'all rank him in the history for college quarterbacks at Michigan? And then just overall, where do y'all rank him as one of the better ones to come through college football? Y'all let me know in the comments below.